Manal asks if I could create a video on how to focus on your studies and not be afraid in exams. Staying focused on studying can be more difficult for some people than others, but it is possible. It is definitely doable. It can be tough and it can be, boring and annoying and a nuisance, but it is and can be done. So here are a few of my tips on how to stay focused while you're studying. First off, you're going to want to find a suitable studying environment. That's somewhere that's comfortable, has nice lighting, but isn't in front of the television. Somewhere you can work but be comfortable. Somewhere where you can write and learn but not be distracted. Second tip, it's often advised to take short breaks frequently throughout your time working. However, I don't find that works for everyone. I myself will study for about 2 or 3 hours and then take a long break. It really does depend on how you work and what works best for you. So perhaps try and feel your rhythm of work and see what will be best for you in regards to taking breaks. The short and frequent breaks works for some people very well. The long and infrequent breaks work for others really well. It's up to you, it depends on how you learn. One of the biggest issues is usually the distractions. In this modern age of technology, the entire knowledge of man's existence is in the palm of your hand on your smartphone. And if you don't think that's incredible, then come on. So distractions can be very, 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 I didn't know what the word was going to be. So distractions can be a huge nuisance and you have to make sure not to be distracted by them. If you're strong enough, this can be done on willpower alone and just not touching any device or being distracted by anything that could distract you. I've used the word distracted like 20 times now. But there's a few other methods of how to stop yourself being distracted. One of my friends, for example, she turns off the internet in her house, so she can't go on the internet at all. Now, you may argue that you need the internet for studying, and that can be true. In some cases, the internet can be an excellent research tool. Other methods are just locking up all your devices, like smartphones and tablets and things. But you just have to stay motivated and know that you shouldn't be being distracted and you should be studying, which is really annoying, but you have to do it. It's going to be worth it in the long run. And my final bit of advice for keeping focus while studying, study partners / study groups are risky. If you're gonna pick a study partner or group, pick them well. Because more often than not, you can find yourself discussing the latest Game of Thrones episode and nothing to do with what you're studying. So be wary of study partners and study groups. They can descend into total pointless procrastination. Now, when it comes to not being afraid in exams, there are two main pieces of advice that I can give. The first being that time is critical. Nothing goes faster from being your best friend to your worst enemy than time in an exam situation. Make sure you know how long the exam is and work out how long you can spend on each part of the exam. The last thing you want to deal with towards the end of an exam is running out of time. It's scary, it's crazy, it puts even more pressure on you, and it will probably hinder your work. So make sure time is your best friend in the exam and not your worst enemy, and you use it to your advantage. The other piece of advice I'd give about not being afraid in an exam is go in prepared. And that kind of relates to stationery and things like that, but I'm more talking about mentally prepared. One of the best ways to not being afraid in an exam is having all the knowledge that you're ever going to need to sit the exam. You're going to want to know everything as much as possible about the topic in the exam. And that's where all the revision and studying comes in. It's simple psychology that if you go into an exam and you hit a question that you're not sure about, the confidence level in yourself drops dramatically. If you go into an exam ready and prepared and full of knowledge, then hopefully you should be doing well in that exam and won't be as fearful of it. Exams is just one of those things where preparation is key, like fundamentally key. So that was my advice on how to stay focused studying and how to not be afraid in an exam. I've actually also made 2 other study related videos, so I'll post a link to those in the end screen. Also, if you've got any other suggestions or topics you'd like me to talk about in a video, please leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'd really love to get some of your ideas and make some of those videos. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you found this advice useful. Best of luck in any upcoming exams you have, and I will see you in the next video.